Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Welcome back. This is episode 33. Last
sure
time we
about
thought it
that?
was 31. No, I did, because the
You
other one
did
was
the math?
32. So it's 33, man. So
Sweet.
I'm your host, Eric,
and I'm Anthony.
and we are Raw Minds. Welcome back. You know what, man? I've been like, I felt a little beat up the last episodes a little bit,
Yeah.
not just from like just going through life stuff, but like after I was in the hospital today, just doing my checkup and getting the ultrasound, going through some personal stuff. I feel great, man. And then,
Good.
to kick it off with, it's going to be a great episode. We got a wicked guest here, hooked up through a friend. We'll get more into that. But yeah, so I'm excited, man. So I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
So should we just fucking get into it? Who cares?
Yeah. Fucking let's get into it.
Okay, let's bring him out. I want to introduce Mr. ESQ. What up, man?
What's going on?
boys? How you
We're
guys
just
doing?
too excited, bro.
Good, man.
We're too excited.
I said we were gonna bullshit for 5 minutes. We're like, nah, fuck it. Let's just go.
You know, ever since our conversation, I've kind of been waiting for to pick up where we left off, but I guess we're gonna have to do a recap for
a
everybody
little
else.
bit of a
Yeah.
We got a
recap.
little
Yeah,
deep last
definitely.
time, like a couple of weeks ago when we spoke.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a great conversation. We should have recorded the fucking thing, man.
I thought that was the episode alone. Like,
It could have been, man.
It
We
is,
say
but-
that every time. By the end of our interviews with guests, like we're like, literally, we could have just hit record and this could have been the episode. Like
Yeah,
that's how it goes
absolutely.
every time.
it's,
like-
it was genuine and authentic. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right?
Definitely.
But I have
man.
just as much fun doing those interviews as I do doing the actual episodes, man.
Yeah.
You get to have good quality conversation. It keeps you in the right headspace, it keeps you centered in your own life
Yeah.
and keeps you in check, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking
man.
about being in check, I totally fucking dropped the ball there. I didn't fully introduce you or tell the people who you are. I just said Mr. ESQ, man, and we're so excited. You know what? Why don't you do that and let everybody know a little bit just who you are first before we get
Yeah.
into anything?
Yeah, sure.
my
I'm Mr. ESQ. I'm a hip hop recording artist in Vancouver Island, BC, out of Canada. I've been doing music for a number of years, and things have really picked up as of lately in the last couple of years, just with the type of stuff that I don't shy away from talking about and discussing in my music. And I feel like that's what brought me to this podcast right now. So
Hell yeah,
I mean,
man.
we're all kind of doing
Mhm.
the same thing, right?
Yeah. Just different avenues, right? But at the end of the day, it's all the same
Yeah.
direction.
Absolutely.
you're just better
Oh,
with making your words rhyme than we are.
I love your shit, man. Honestly, like when you told me the last one, Hellbound, is it? Hellbound?
Hellmade.
Hellmade.
Homemade.
There you go.
That's
That
and like
song is
yeah.
it's based on a true story, right?
I remember,
About
yeah.
one of my homies from your guys' neck of the woods. He's from Surrey. A guy I spent a lot of time incarcerated with, and I got the permission from his family to do the song, and I just felt right to get Mercules on it, and he jumped on the song. It's a crazy song, all factual, all based on real life stuff about what men are going through and what we face as protectors of
Yeah.
women. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
if you want to get into that, we can a little bit more, or we can kind of just
Yeah, we can
coast.
yeah, that's what we do is we just
Yeah.
ghost men and whatever pops up. Kind of like the interview, like when we did that.
Yeah,
And I
for
just
sure.
want to apologize again, man. I smoked a little too much before this, so
It's okay.
I mean made, not yeah. So
Yeah.
my apologies.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Man. It's all good.
But and in Taxman, man, that's a great song too.
Yeah.
I remember I
Yeah.
was following you before I even knew you, man. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it was so funny. Eric told me about you, and I was like, dude, I've already like seen his videos. I have them like favorited on my TikTok and shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
And
Yeah,
dude, you're
dude.
on my release radar every week. Every time your music comes out, it's on my release
Yeah.
radar.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I've been trying to be really consistent with the music and the quality of music that I've released over the last couple of years. Trying to do it every like 2 or 3 weeks, actually. To like
Mhm.
Yeah.
the attention span is pretty slim with people these days, and they need that right away. You got 30 seconds to grab their attention, right? So
Yeah.
with Taxman, we kind of went a little crazy with that one, but it's all I did was look at what everybody else was saying. All you do is read the comments of all these posts, and
Yeah.
people are thinking the same shit I am. So all I did is put it in my own words, and
Put it
10
out there,
million
man.
views later, here we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So-
Yeah. Definitely, man. You got some great shit, honestly,
Yeah.
man. So like,
Thank
mad
you.
props to you, and you're bringing up Canada, man. You know what I mean? So that's
Trying to, yeah.
hell yeah,
I'm
brother.
trying to bring up anybody who's willing to put their heart and soul into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good you are, how great you are, but if you're talking about the things that I appreciate, you know, guys talking about as artists and things like that, a lot of people shy away from certain things, and I just can't keep my mouth shut when it comes to certain things. So I'm
Love
like,
it, bro.
fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I do, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I
Yeah.
make music for my family, my friends, and people that become my friends, like you guys here, right?
And yourself too, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
a
That's
good
what
way
it
to
comes
get
to.
things off of my chest.
Yeah, dude.
You know, we as men don't really tend to talk about the issues that go on within ourselves very often. So for me, it's important. I mean, I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to not talking about my emotions and my feelings. So when I wrote Hard Times, that one was an opportunity for me to just be like, word vomit. Let me get everything off of my chest here. For the most part, I do talk about my emotions, and it's more so like the struggles and the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through to become in the position I am now, you know, with going through the prison system and you know, detention centers and foster care and shit like that. We keep a lot of that bottled up because, you know, people shy away from having these conversations because it makes them uncomfortable, right? That's my comfortable though, you know what I mean? That's my life.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like there's like a lost appreciation because like from an outsider perspective, like obviously we've had a conversation with you, so we know you a little bit deeper than just being the artist, but people just assume that like as artists, you guys just put songs together and there's no lived experience behind it, but we know, and we're going to get into where the music all stems from.
Yeah,
you know? And like
absolutely.
there's far more to this than just rapping words on a song. Like this is lived experience, and that's where people like there's this big disconnect with people, and it's like you said, you have 30 seconds to grab them, but there's almost like this lost appreciation for the experiences that people have had to go through to get to where they are. Like we talk about our stuff, like I said, we can't rhyme as good as you can, but to be able to do that, like that's a skill in of itself, you know. Like I've really gained an appreciation. I've been to a few events. Like I went and saw the Lion King in Toronto, the play, like 2 weeks ago with my kids, and just like after the show, sitting there and just like appreciating what these actors and actresses are doing and like how they do it, and to be able to do it like like every day of the fucking week and travel around the world and do it. And like it's just crazy. Like some of the costumes, man, like the elephant that they have is ran by like 4 people.
Oh, wow.
You know? And to like bring these costumes to life is just fucking insane. And then last night I was at a comedy show for a comedian that I've got to know pretty well. And he was in Montreal on Friday. He was in Toronto last night. He's in New Orleans all week. Then he's going out to Vancouver the week after I get back. So on the 10th to the 12th, like to be able to go somewhere and do these types of things, or just like be able to pump this type of stuff out and be able to articulate your emotions in so many different ways. And that's not even bringing in the fucking the intelligence, like the musical intelligence that I obviously don't have, you know what I mean? Like it's there's just so much that goes unappreciated.
Yeah, a lot of different aspects of it. Like you said, the acting roles, like you got to think of some of the roles that people have prepared themselves for to play in terms of like types of movies that they've had to make.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my favorite movies is that Man on Fire movie with Denzel Washington, where he's that little girl. Like imagine the mindset you have to go through. I mean, look at the Joker movie where that ended up, right? Because you have to get in a certain mindset to play these roles. So hats off to actors for doing that, because some of these roles I think I'd shy away from playing because I'd lose my fucking mind.
I don't even need to play to lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. Right? Some of these movies they come out with, like, you know what I mean? Kids and stuff like that getting hurt. And you know what I mean? I just want to smash my TV sometimes, but you got to take a second and be like, it's for the greater good. Like the Sound of Freedom movie that they put out.
Yeah.
And I did a music video and a song based off of that, where my daughter played a role in it. And I ended up playing the role where, you know, my daughter was kidnapped and we lost her and cops couldn't get her back. And at the end of the video, I'm beating a pedophile to death, and it's pretty fucking cool. I'm like, as a father, that is exactly what I would do.
100%, man.
Right? So
I'm a father, I know that.
Very important movie made, probably the most important movie ever made is Sound of Freedom, I feel. Personally. So,
you know, they were trying to hold that back, like, and they wouldn't release it. I think even Chester from God, I can't think, what's his face.
They were trying to like not release it. The question is why.
Yeah.
Why would you want to hold something like that back? Something so fucking powerful because it's true. Because
Linkin
it's
Park.
all facts. Like so much.
Yeah.
America's the biggest clients for human child trafficking.
Yeah. Huge, man.
Ridiculous. It's crazy.
Busfuls, man. Like there's, I think, what's his face? He does a podcast too, and he was like filming, and it's busloads of like kids that they're like, and even like humans. Like I mean, not humans, adults.
Adults, yeah.
You know? Yeah. You know, so it's disgusting, man. So let's get into like what stems from like your music, what like drove you to get.
For me, like I started writing it as like poetry. Obviously, I grew up on West Coast music. I used to listen to like South Central Cartel and Ghetto Boys, and Tupac, and
Hell yeah.
those were the guys that I listened to growing up. And then I really gravitated towards that emotional storytelling stuff, like Biggie Smalls and Tupac did.
Yeah.
And at first, I was just writing poetry, rhyming my words and kind of telling my story, and you know, growing up in youth detention centers and foster care and being ripped from my family and stuff like that. Like, you know, I had some things to say, which I never really put out as music before. I kind of just wrote things to get off my chest, right? Because I'm the youngest of 7 in my family, 3 older brothers, 3 older sisters. You know, I was taught that, you know, somebody hurts your sisters, you break their fingers.
Yeah.
Check. Got it. Nothing was ever said about, you know, if you know, boys don't cry sort of shit, right? Be a protector, be a man. It was never, hey, you should talk about your feelings and you should say like what you're feeling inside of you when this happens or when this happens. It was never kind of put on the table for guys like us, you know, in our generation at least. Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I used as an outlet just to start writing music. And then it just so happens that my life became something crazier. I went down a really horrible path and it just adds to my story. Great. But, you know, I had to live it first and foremost. Right. So I did bottle a lot of that shit up. It does stay with you for a long time, the things that we do. Right. So that's kind of where it all stems from for me, is just kind of telling my truth as a deterrent for maybe the next generation that's going to hear me and say, okay, maybe I shouldn't drive around for escorts, and maybe I shouldn't be a collector, and maybe I shouldn't fucking get drunk and high and, you know, fuck this guy up, and going to jail isn't cool at all. So, you know, maybe like I've gotten messages from people saying like, you know, you saved my life. I was really like 2 days ago, a guy's like, hey, you got any more music like that song Hard Times? Because I'm really going through it right now. And I had something in the vault and I just sent it to him and he was like, wow. He's like, I'm good. So little things like that. That is the instant gratification of what I do, right? It's not checks coming in the mail from shitty Spotify streams or, you know what I mean, YouTube or anything like that. It's the messages that you get from the people that you actually help. That are like, they're not afraid anymore to be like, oh, I'm going to keep it up and, you know, go do this to myself. They're actually going to message me and be like, hey, you helped me through this hard time and thank you.
Paying it forward, it's that ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then like you helping them, they're going to help someone, you know, hopefully, and that just keeps on going.
It just inspires me even more.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever somebody's like, hey man, like you really helped me. Or some guy was like, you know, I was going to take my life a couple of weeks ago and, you know, your music really got me through some shit. So that is way more powerful than any sort of paycheck I could ever get out of this stuff, which it's not what I started it for anyways. You know what I mean? That wasn't the foundation of why I wanted to do music. It was for stuff like this, doing a podcast to get things off of your chest and talk to people and enlighten like the audience about what men go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I love that, man. You know, I was on the other end, my homie Tom McDonald. We've spoke about Tom before.
Yeah.
He had this one song and I was going through a dark time and he sent it to me, and it was the video of him, and I have it somewhere in my archives, I'll tell you that, but I'll never release it. That's his thing, right? But it's him in his living room and he's rapping to his phone, and the song is amazing. It just saved my life, man. It really did. And after I heard it, I was like in tears, and I called him up and I said, you know, thank you for this, man. Like it really did save my life. And I feel like I owe him, man. Like really,
that's the thing. Like, you know, that's the payment enough for him too, because I understand his mindset when it comes to that. You know, and that's probably why he did it, because he's like, I need to help you. Right? And it wasn't about anything else. It wasn't he wasn't being selfish or anything. It was all about you or sending it to you or whoever needed it that day, right? Tom McDonald couldn't give a fuck about money, you know what I mean? He donates enough of it to like vets and stuff like that, but he's more about his truth, you know? So
he's definitely solid dude, man. Love his shit.
100%. he's huge right now too. He's like one of the biggest independent artists in the world.
Yeah, I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud. So I have me and him were a couple of years back, I think 2019. And what is it? February only has 28 days in it, right? In the month. So I put this post on Facebook. It's like, I got 2 free tickets to Vegas for the 30th in February. Anybody want to come with me? It was a joke, right?
Yeah.
Just something stupid. So he messages me and he's like, oh man, I'm like 2 hours away from Vegas. I'll meet you. You know, we'll have a good time. And I'm like, man, read the post again. It's February. It's the 20th. He's like, oh man, well, let me know when you come down here. But
That's hilarious.
yeah,
Well,
man.
that's the same
Yeah,
thing.
he's like,
You're
I'd love to
in town,
see someone from Vancouver. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I miss that, right? Super
That's
solid,
dope.
dude. Yeah. So after you know, you started getting into this and then started putting your music out there. Did you find that it was like healing for you? Like getting it off your chest?
Yeah, I do feel like it got a lot off my chest. It just wasn't, at that point, it wasn't really heard by an audience. It was more so writing things down on paper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Throwing it out when I was done. It didn't really have a shelf life after that. It was more so to get things off of my chest. I never really held on to a lot of the stuff. Some of the things I did really like memorize, and I was able to put them on songs as of now. I wrote a song after I was incarcerated. I just had gotten sentenced to 10 years for aggravated assault over some shit that I did as a kid. And I ended up in the hole, of course, segregation. And they gave me like a pencil that was like 2.5 inches long and napkins. So that's kind of what I wrote this song on. And it was just to get things off of my chest. At the time, I didn't think it would become something like a song or anything like that. But then, you know, 20 years later, I released the song that I wrote when I was 18, 19 years old, sitting in a prison cell.
Yeah.
And it's fucking surprisingly awesome. And it helped me, it helped others. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I thought wouldn't stay with me. It was more so just like, where do I go from here type thing.
That's amazing though, man. You know, just as a kid too. And then like it explodes later down life. And that's even the beautiful. It was made, but not ready to blossom, I guess you could say, at that time.
Yeah, that was exactly how I would put it. Yeah. It wasn't ready to be heard yet, you know, even though the words were put out there and I got a lot of things off my chest. Now, when I hear the song and I'm like, that's exactly how I felt in that moment. And I did everything that I said I would do in that song in terms of moving forward and being different.
Yeah.
It's crazy how impactful a message can be. Eh?
Especially to yourself. You know what I mean? Imagine writing a letter to yourself in 20 years, like, you know, I expect you to be here, this, and this. This is what I want you to change. You know what I mean? And then you go and read it later and you've already step by step accomplished everything. And it's nothing to do with like, you know, success or anything like that. It's more emotional growth. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The most important stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Crazy,
just not
man.
being the person that I once was. Was the message to myself. Is like, you know, choose.
I'm blown away right now, man. Just that story of like you writing it as your kid and then releasing it later. That's amazing, man. And just like I said, it was just for that moment. It was made for that moment. You just didn't know it yet. Wow.
It's crazy. When I think about it, you know what I mean? You guys are pushing me to think, reflect on these things, right?
Yeah, man.
Which I do quite often, but never like intensely that deep.
Yeah.
So, you know, I like this.
It's awesome. And it's good to hear it from a outside view too, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still blown away. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So where do you feel like in your life, your music, like where do you feel like your music started having a positive impact, not only on you, but the people around you as well?
I think so. After I got out, I served 7 years of my 10-year sentence. It was like 8 years with 2 years consecutive on top of it. And then I served 7 total, give or take. And I got out and I was like, you know, I'm not allowed to hang out with old associates. You know how it is. It's like you're red zone from certain areas. I wasn't allowed in MMA gyms anymore. I was just completely, you know, taken away from my old life, which is a good thing because I never really wanted back into it anyways. A lot of guys I grew up with kind of turned their backs on me and stuff like that. I went away. When you're put in a cage, you find out who's there for you and who isn't. You know what I mean? It's like there's your family. The people that you took for granted are usually the ones that have your back, right?
Yeah.
So after I got out, I was just like, I dove into work. You know what I mean? I was like, I need to work. I got to play catch up here, right? So I didn't write anything. I didn't write music for 10 years ish, probably more than that after I got out. I was more focused on getting my life back together, successfully completing my parole conditions. During that time, becoming a father, that was something that I really wanted to do, because as a young man at 18, that was kind of taken from me, probably for good reasons. My son didn't make it at birth, which sent me down a downward spiral.
My
But
condolences.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But like, reflecting on it, what kind of father would I have been when I was 18, still living that life? So everything happens for a reason, right? So that's how I feel about it. And then my daughter was born 10 years to the day as my son, and they even predicted the due date. So I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my purpose, is to be a father to my daughters. So I was like, I went all in with that, and that's what my life became immersed with, is like whatever I can do for them to make their life just the complete opposite of what mine was. That's kind of the direction I was going with it. And then I ran into one of my buddies, actually one of my friends' little brother. His name's Dre Goche. My buddy's name was Joe. He was murdered 7 years ago. But I ran into his brother, and he said, hey, you should come to the studio with me. And I was like, I don't really do that anymore. Like, I haven't made music in a decade plus. And he's like, no, come to the studio. So I go to the studio, and I wanted to see him do his thing, because he was like, you used to rap to me in the basement when I was 10 years old at my brother's house. And
Crazy.
I taught him how to write music, and I taught him how to make music. And then I go away, get locked up forever. And I come out, and he's doing his thing, and he's one of the bigger artists on Vancouver Island, killing it. So he brings me to the studio, and he's like, jump on this song. And I haven't even been in a recording studio in 15 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I jump in, and I say a couple of lines, and the engineer shuts the track off, and he's like, who the fuck are you, and where the fuck have you been? I just got here. So, you know what I mean? And he was like, give me your socials, give me your this, that. And I said, I don't have Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I don't do none of that. Right. I got an email and I got a cell phone number. That's how old school I am. This is 5 years ago. You know what I mean? I didn't have social media or none of that shit. So he got my contact information, and he dragged my ass to the studio, and I recorded 10 songs, and he's like, I'm releasing this. And I wasn't even happy with these songs. You know what I mean? I was just like, no, we're just messing around. He's like, no, the world needs to hear you. So I was like, okay, be ready.
Awesome, man.
Be ready, because when you drop something with my name on it, because of my history in this city, it's not about the music anymore. It's going to be the reporters wanting interviews, and they want to talk about what I did and the life I lived, and because I was a pretty fucked up kid growing up doing a bunch of dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So yeah, he dropped the first song, and it went on the news, and started getting back to back calls from news reporters wanting interviews and stuff like that. I declined it all, because I just said, you could send the money to the victim's family and stuff like that, right? So of my crime, aggravated assault, that I was convicted of back in the day. And then it's crickets. You know what I mean? They don't reach out after that. But we had it ready with a song called My Apology, which is the stuff that I kind of wanted to put out. I was like, no, you could put this song out. He's like, no, you have to make a wave first. And I was like, I don't want this wave. It's going to come crashing down. So we put out My Apology, and that shit blew up. And it's been crickets for anybody that was chirping in the comments about, I'm a murderer, or this and that, or I shouldn't be out, or I shouldn't be entitled to this or that. Or, I put the song out, and everybody went silent, because I'm like, I spoke my truth. I said how I feel. I said what was going through me emotionally, after burying my son, and the alcohol consuming me, and then the actions that I took to harm people, and said my apology. So that's kind of how this all started.
And then now people got to see why you were in the space that you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, maybe they're like, and that's why they're like, okay, like crickets, like you said, right? It's like, don't judge people. You never know. Like, everybody has a story. Everybody in this world has a story.
Yeah.
It's just, people just jump to judge, that person's, maybe he just lost his wife, or maybe, like you lost a child. You don't know what that person's going through.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I was just a young knucklehead kid at the time. So, there was a point in my life where I had to be incarcerated, I feel, in order. I wouldn't have made the changes that I've made to become where I am today if I didn't go through those things. Right. So it's just unfortunate what happened, and the people that were hurt during the process. You know what I mean? Because that definitely wasn't my intentions or anything like that. So, but, I still stand my ground on, don't hurt women and children.
100%, man.
And you know what I mean? 90% of my life probably would have been okay if I didn't follow that. But as a man, I can't sit back and, allow that shit to happen on my block.
No,
Especially as a
definitely.
kid growing up, I was just like, nope, zero tolerance for that kind of stuff. And even now, you know what I mean? Being a father of a couple little girls and having 3 older sisters and stuff like that, it's like I'm a protector. I feel like I was born to be something in terms of a protector for women and children and stuff like that. So yeah,
Good for you, man.
it's in my.
Yeah,
I
good
think it's
for
in
you.
our blood. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? As a fucking
100%,
man,
man.
like when you look in the mirror and you're like, yo, I'm a fucking man. Yeah, you're a protector. You will
Mhm.
fuck people up if they hurt women and children. Like that's
Yeah,
just
man.
there's no question.
Well, there's what's this in Alaska? The Alaskan Avenger. He goes by now.
Oh yeah.
I forget his full name, his real full name, but he used to track down pedophiles through the map, and he would visit them.
I love him.
Yeah, yeah, he's yeah.
Like,
You know what? I was thinking about reaching out to him and talking to him.
dude, you should get an interview with him for sure,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
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 I do have a question for you. So when when you're incarcerated, what point did you start to start changing?
I woke up in a cell charged with manslaughter before this was within 24 hours. And before I woke up and I even knew what I was charged with, I said, I'm done. I'm over it. Like I don't need to drink a 40 pounder or 226ers every night to my dome just to like numb myself from the pain that I was feeling at the time. Right. I just woke up in a cell. Like I didn't know what happened. I had to get the recap from trial stuff. I had no recollection of everything. I just woke up in a cement room and I was like, I'm fucking over this life. So I said to myself right there, I'll never have another sip of alcohol again. And I'm 24 years sober now. No drugs, no
for you,
alcohol,
man.
no nothing.
Good for you.
So
Good for
that
you.
was the turning point for me. Was, you know, it was unfortunate that all the things happened, but it was the main thing of waking up in that cell, knowing, you know, bounded, shackled, like fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did, but clearly something, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the hangovers and shit like that. I just, you know, I was kind of over it.
How did being incarcerated, like how did that for your mental health? That must have been a bit of an attack, as definitely too.
Yeah, the getting locked up was the necessary steps in terms of public safety, probably.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like regardless if I got locked up or not, my decision was made when I woke up what I was going to do differently. But I feel like it was necessary to keep me away from my old associates and the lifestyle I was living and stuff. So
Blessing in disguise, I guess.
yeah, I think so too, right? And I had to go through the federal system, which is, you know, that's the big boy stuff, right? Federal penitentiary, and I'm 19 years old walking in there, and I'm an LTO because I got, you know, 10 years-ish, 10 years less a day. I got 2 years less a day and 8 years consecutive, so I got 10 years less one day. LTO is a long-term offender, which is what I was classified as, so I was entitled to go on certain ranges, and it just means you're associating with lifers. You know, everybody in there's got bodies under their belt, and they're stone cold killers, convicted murderers, never getting out. And these are the people that, you know, kind of helped me become a man. You know, I had to grow up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, going in there as a teenager to, you know, getting put in with some real fucking dudes.
Yeah.
But they were, you know, the people that I met in there, you wouldn't expect to meet those kind of people, right? They're just real down to earth individuals, and they're there. They like want to see other people succeed. There's no selfish people in there. You know, there are a couple, but for the most part, it's like they see a young guy come in, you know, 2 weeks in, there's a 19-year-old guy hang himself from the top bunk because, you know, he just got sentenced to 3 years and they put him in where I was.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty scary place for a young man, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you
But
know
yeah.
what, too? A lot of these people, too, just because they do bad things doesn't mean they're bad people. You know what I
No,
mean?
of
At
course
the end
That's
of
what I
the
was
day,
gonna
right?
say.
Yeah. It could be a one-off, you know what I mean? So yeah. It happens. It happens, right? We have no control over it sometimes. Life has a path for us. So, you know, that's why everybody's like, I'd never change where I was because it made me the man I am today. That's what they always mean by that, is like there was a path made, set, ready for you, and you walked it, and now you are where you are. And if you didn't go through the things we went through, you know what I mean? If you guys didn't go through what you went through, you wouldn't have this podcast. You wouldn't be reaching out, trying to spread this word. You know what I mean? It could be a whole different life for you guys. And
we say that all the time, the time, you know, and what we did is now made all of us sit here, met each other, and now we're discussing this, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do believe that not like I do believe people have negative qualities, but I don't believe they're all bad. Like even the people you were incarcerated with, I don't think they are evil people through and through. Don't get me wrong. I believe there are some very unwell people.
You know, I've always said that, you know, my parole officer would always say, oh, what if you know, we're going to send you here. And I'm like, you know, they put certain people there that, you know, I'm not going to get along with. Right. So
Mhm.
don't get it wrong. I was a bad individual, but there's a
Mhm.
difference between bad and evil.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between bad and evil because there's some evil fucking men out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what they're doing, right?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
there's some bad dudes
Yeah.
that would never do shit like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
They'd be on, yeah, exactly, right? They wouldn't step on. It's a line, right? You don't cross that fucking line, man.
Exactly. Right.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
and I know if shit ever to pop off, they're going to call on the bad dudes to help protect the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
100%. 100%. Just
this is
in
what
the
it's going to
state.
be, right? So I got my record, but you know, that ain't going to stop them when they come calling for help because
Yeah.
we'll be on the front line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Well, after, you know, like say years after you put out the music, you know, it's starting to blow up. How how's that like journey been from you? Like is it like for mentally like stressful?
I would say, you know, there's a lot of politics in music. I
Yeah.
would say nothing like over the top, but you know, when I'm out here doing features and making music with people and stuff, and sometimes you got to make, you know, gangster music or fuck songs or whatever, songs for the bitches or whatever, and it's people want to latch on to one song and be like, oh, you haven't changed, but what about the other 400 songs I did about, you know, this and this? I'm just making features and having fun with it at the same time because I got to breathe a little bit sometimes too, right? So
man.
Yeah.
not everything can always be right down to the core of the problems and trying to change everything, which even though that is the foundation of why I do it, but I got to have fun and do things at the same time. And then you work with so many people and then you find out they don't share the core values as you do. You know what I mean? They want to go out, get drunk and party, you know, bang a bunch of bitches or punch a bunch of girls out, or you know what I mean? It's like I kind of stick to myself now in terms of like making music. I got a handful of guys that I make music with, but I gotta do a background check on you if I'm doing some music with you now. So
Yeah. No, especially
Fair
nowadays,
enough.
man, right?
you never know, right? But for the most part, it's been a journey. It's been fun. It hasn't been crazy stressful.
Okay.
It is getting to a point where the recognition is pretty adamant. People seeing me in the street, stopping me, wanting pictures and autographs and stuff like that. Like that's pretty cool. And young
Until it
kids.
gets too much, right? Until they're outside your house, the
Yeah.
paparazzi taking pictures.
Fuck.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I had a couple opportunities that some people called me to help out with a couple of boys that were, you know, going down the wrong path. You know, 13, 14-year-old kids, and they were at the group home downtown. And it's all like 15, 16 girls in there and these two boys. So I kind of just went in there and I said, you and you get your shit, you're with me. And they were just like, okay. But then the psychologists are like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I'm like, no, you got two teenage boys here with like 15 or 16 teenage girls. This is not happening. And
Yeah.
they're my buddies' kids. And he's like, he's like, one of them is just off the handles. He's like, you know what I mean? You got to go get him. He'll listen to you. And you know what I mean? He was like, you know, his kid was just acting out saying like, fuck you. You know, I'm not coming home, this and that, ran away downtown, wants to use drugs, shit like that. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go get him. I was like, you're staying with me now. Life's changing for you guys, right? But they called the cops. And when the cops got there, they were like, ESQ. I was like, yeah. And they're like, you got this? I said, yep. And they said, have a fucking good day. And I grabbed those kids and I left. And the psychologists were like, what the hell's going on here? Because they know. They're like, no, he did the same shit. So these kids are going to learn. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there is that aspect of it where, you know, yeah, I caused a lot of shit in my community as a kid, but now they see me as something different.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, he's the right guy for that job for sure.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
That's
Drag
really
these people
cool.
in my house and, you know, feed them and clothe them and put them to work. You know, pay them some good money for a good work ethic. At one point, I had their teachers sending me their report cards and shit like that. So
Wicked.
I was like, I don't hire losers, man. I'm like, you guys can go back to school. You can get a job. You can do this. I want your report cards. If you want a job with me during the summer, I don't hire losers. So don't be a loser. And a loser is somebody that doesn't go to school.
Love it, man. Love it. See, and that's you giving back to the community and helping, man, which is amazing, and paying it forward. And that's what we're here about with Raw Minds.
Yeah, 100%. And they all had pending charges, these kids. So they went to youth detention centers and they got out and their life is different, both of them now.
Hell yeah. And it's because of you. You put a spark in it and helped them.
Yeah, I
learn.
kind of lit a fire under their ass, and now they're really respectful to their father and this and that. And
Yeah.
I feel like I did something. I feel like I had to do it. You know what I mean? That's my
Yeah.
purpose. Is
Yeah.
what it is.
Good for you.
How did you find that journey to navigate for yourself to get to that point where the people who were the ones cuffing you were now the ones trusting you?
Yeah,
I like that.
that's I don't know. It kind of just happened. I mean, when I got arrested the first time, half of them they hated me. The other half would shake my hand. You know what I mean? Saying "good job," like you know what I mean. So that's the difference between men. Sometimes it's like some can actually recognize when you do stuff out of being that type of person to your core values, right? So, but now I see them. They shake my hand. I've done a bunch of roofs for police officers and corrections officers and stuff like that. They call me and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's call fucking H. He's the one that can get it done for us," you know. So there's that aspect of it, and which is pretty cool that one of them specifically. He was one of the guards, and he's seen me throughout the years doing my programming, my incarceration, getting my tickets, and studying to be a youth counselor and my carpentry tickets and electrical and all that stuff. So he hit me up after I got out, and he was like, "I'm a contractor as well, so you can do all my stuff." And now it's been a 10, 12 year long relationship with that guy outside.
That's awesome, man.
You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool, right?
It's good that people still have that type of faith, man.
It's crazy, right? Because I never expected that. I was always going to be like, I'm going to get shit on for all the things I did in my life, which is fine, right? I expected that. I never had any expectations of somebody treating me differently, especially the day I got out. They said, "You should not be in Victoria. Go somewhere else. Fuck off. You're not going to be a youth counselor. Conflict of interest. You're too violent. You haven't changed. You're unrehabilitatable." These are the things that were thrown at me. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll just prove you wrong then. Whatever.
Was there a part of you that did it? Yeah. Was there a part of you that did it a little bit out of spite to just be like, "Fuck you, let me show you"?
When I woke up in that cell and I was like, I'm done. I've never done any hard drugs because I sold a lot of it and I've seen what happened to people, especially being able to reflect on that aspect of it. And now a lot of my friends are all hooked on dope and living downtown. And so that was the deterrent for me. When I woke up and said, I'm done drinking, I won't smoke weed anymore. I'm done. Right. And then I was in Matsqui Federal Penitentiary and my mom came to visit me and they did the ion scanner. And she said she scanned hot for fucking heroin or coke or something like that. And they said, "Oh, she's trying to bring drugs in the institution for you." I hadn't even had a visit in this institution yet. I was like, I just got here, man. Fuck you guys. Right. So I was like, whatever. And then they accused me of trying to bring a bunch of dope in. So I put myself on voluntary.
Through your mom.
Through my mom, through visits, right? So I put myself on voluntary urinalysis testing. That was out of spite, 100%. To the point where they tried to stop piss testing me, saying I'm wasting their money. I have the most. I am the most tested inmate probably in Canada to this day. I would imagine.
Really?
Yeah. I was just request after request once a week. You can imagine that for 7 years, nonstop. I literally came to prison with a substance abuse issue, which was the core problem of why I did what I did and how my reactions was and stuff like that. Substance abuse was 100% the contributing factor. Got to my parole hearing. The first thing they said, "Okay, let's address substance abuse. Doesn't seem to be a problem. Moving on." So
really?
Didn't even have to have a discussion about it. They just said, "We believe that there is never going to be a problem with this. Moving on.
Awesome.
Let's talk about your affiliation." And that's when they got into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So
That was their intention the whole time. Could you fucking imagine if it didn't go that way though? And substance abuse was a fucking problem and how bad they would look?
That's that would be pretty crazy. And I was well prepared because it's like, "Oh, what are you doing here? Let's talk about substance abuse." Okay, well, here's 492 clean urinalysis tests. Yeah. From this institution. There's a whole bunch more, you know what I mean? There's nothing they could have thrown at me. I did all the programmings. I did the substance abuse programs and, all that shit.
I fucking love it, man. It's just a big fuck you in your face. They
never even said, "Hey, you should take these programs." They set out an institutional, a rehabilitation program for you with all these programs. And they would come to you and say, "Okay, this program starts this date. You have to do this, 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 and this." Nobody ever came to ask me if I wanted to do anything, if I wanted to better my education, if I wanted to even get post-secondary or anything, order courses, none of that shit. I had to take the initiative myself, right? So
that's crazy, man. They didn't even offer anything. How are you supposed to habilitate people then if you're not offering?
It was a warehouse, 500 guys in there, every door open, 6:30 in the morning, every door, 500 guys walking there wherever they want. It was crazy,
really?
Really? And it's the guards are on the opposite side, and they don't. It's a warehouse. They don't want to see anybody change and rehabilitate. A lot of them are there for paychecks, you know.
Yeah. There's no real love in it. They're just, like you said, it's just
There's very few people that are there to help you. You know what I mean? To change you, to see that you're going to be a difference in the world, or say that you want to make a difference within yourself. They're not. There's only a handful of people, like volunteers will come in there from like John Howard Society and stuff like that, and be like, hey, you know, I see you trying to make these changes. We should like start structuring a resume for you and this and that, and like help you with your release program. But they don't really do that. They were like, hey, take this high intensity violent offender program, and I'm in there with guys with multiple bodies, and I'm in there with convicted of aggravated assault, and they're all looking at me like, why the fuck are you here? It's just because it was like tried to charge me with manslaughter or whatever, and you know, I got in a fight and the guy's, you know, no longer here. It's a program for the worst of the worst. So I took it. It's a 9-month long program in the room with 2 psychologists every day. And then successfully completed it. And they said, okay, perfect. Now you are unprogrammable because you've taken the most intensive program that Canada has to offer. If you reoffend again, you will be put on a Dangerous Offender Act, which you are eligible for parole every 7 years with an indefinite sentence.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the end result of my program, and that was my graduation. If you reoffend again, you will be sentenced to an indefinite sentence with a possibility of parole every 7 years.
They didn't tell.
No, I probably would have taken it anyways, though, you know what I mean? Because it was part of my structured release plan. If I go to the parole board and I didn't take it, then I'd have other questions to answer. You know? So I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I already had the mindset that I'm not going that route anymore anyways. So I committed myself fully to the process.
Yeah. Good for you though, man.
Yeah, good.
How long was the course? Like, I mean, like hours the day?
9 months, 8 hours a day.
Hours a day.
8 hours a day with 2 psychologists.
It's like a job that you're not getting fucking paid for, bro.
They should give you a fucking psychology degree at that point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to learn a lot of shit about yourself. I had to write a life and crime autobiography about myself and read it out in the class. Anything you've ever done, jaywalk, stole a fucking chocolate bar, it doesn't matter. You have to throw it all out there. And there was things that, you know what I mean, I was acquitted of, that I was found not guilty of, that they said, hey, you did that. Because the judge did say in the newspaper that I did it and more, but it was I had multiple charges going in. I was a dickhead though, you know. Yeah. So
you're 18, man. What do you expect? You're full of
I was an 18-year-old fucking drug dealing, fucking driving around escorts and being an idiot. And I racked up a hefty assault charges, multiple, you know, weapons and stuff like that, and gun charges, all the dumb shit that people think they're cool over that did not make me cool at the end of the day.
No.
It was fucking stupid. But you know what I mean? I had to write it and take responsibility for my actions, and I had to tell it exactly how it was, you know what I mean? So I was like, yes, I did that. I was found not guilty, and that's just what it is. I think I had like 16 counts of assault with a weapon, aggravated assault, and things like it was a lot. And that was only one conviction of aggravated assault out of all that. I kept beating the charges.
Crazy.
But I never denied the main one that they wanted 14 years for. So, you know what I mean? I hit the guy, he hit his head on the ground.
I think we spoke. I had a buddy went through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. And it's just a freak accident, man. You can't expect that. That's not what you were trying to do. You know what I mean?
It definitely wasn't the intention. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to plead. I was like, I didn't deny it. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, shit happened. I did it. Let's get the ball rolling here. You know what I mean? What if I said, I'll plead to assault causing bodily harm. You give me as much time as you want. And they said 14 years, which is the maximum sentence for aggravated assault. So I was like, fuck it. I'll take it to trial. Then we got 8 on top of 2, made 10. Still came out on top, in my opinion, because I've been sitting in there for 4 years more. Anything can happen in 4 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, I think you made the right choice, man. You know, and
I feel like I did too. You know what I mean? And that's another deterrent of mine is like, you know what I mean? I kind of owe it to the family to be somewhat successful at like not being a shithead, or not being an asshole, and not reoffending. Like that would be like what I feel I would owe for that kind of karmatic debt. You know what I mean? Yeah. Go live a responsible, respectable life, raise your daughters, you know, properly, with good morals. That would be like something that I feel would be
honorable, I guess you could say.
You know what I mean? Nothing can bring back what I did or anything like that, but I feel like that would make things a little more easier for the family.
If that's even a thing in that aspect, you know what I mean? Like,
well, regardless, man, like just good on you for committing yourself to being a better person and being in the environment that you were in and sticking to that commitment. And then not only that, but getting out and fucking standing on business
Yeah.
till now. Like that's like
100%.
that's
Yeah.
a
I
fucking
appreciate that. Thank
huge
Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge deal, man.
Product like this is what Raw Mind's all about, man. Is
Yeah.
like your journey right there, right? You know what I mean? From pain to power.
I'm actually
You know, it's-
working on an album right now called 7 Years on Lock, and it's all about like my emotional state during the entire time while I was incarcerated, the ups and downs, the loss of friends, the things you see within the prison system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The conversations with myself,
Yeah.
the digging within yourself for changes. Like it's
I mean,
all
you're
about,
alone. Technically, you got to usually cellmate, but I mean, you are alone, really, because you don't know this person, right? It's you.
Yeah.
And like, I can't imagine like the conversations with yourself. Definitely must
well,
be
yeah,
hard.
the
Hard
federal
ones.
system is there's no bunk, there's no double bunking in the federal system. So you're definitely alone. You got out and
Yeah.
you can conversate with your friends, and you're on the range, and you could talk to guys next door if they're not getting fucking concussion grenaded for acting up or something like that. That's you're in your thoughts a lot. You're in your cell by yourself, especially if you do some dumb shit while you're in there and you end up locked in the hole like I did. I was put in there for quite some time. So, I had a lot of time to reflect.
Yeah. Well, you know what though, man? I know we just met, but I'm proud of you, bro. You're
Thanks,
you're
man.
doing
Definitely.
doing an amazing job, man. You know,
I appreciate you guys for
yeah, man.
letting me come on here, man. Owen's a G. I love Owen.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
wanted
shout
to
out
say
to
that at the
Owen.
start, but we just went. So I
Yeah.
just want to give out a shout out to Owen. Owen's been a friend of mine since we were teenagers. Well, yeah, 19, I think it was when I got my money. But yeah, around that time. But
Yeah.
he comes on next episode, and he's coming down here this weekend,
That's
man.
dope.
So
Yeah.
me and Anthony and Owen, we're gonna do the episode on the couch. We're gonna set it all up, man. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be dope.
That's badass, man. I wish I could.
Yeah.
He comes by my place at least once a month, every couple of weeks, watch the fights.
Yeah.
Brings his family down, his son and his wife
Yeah.
come. Yeah, it's a real good dynamic over here with the friend group that we got. Everybody's got young families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We have that deterrent to
Yeah.
not go do the shit we used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got a little community going on in between with your friends, with the
Yeah,
family
we all
stuff, and that's
support
nice.
each other, and we call each other on each other's bullshit. You know what I mean? It's important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys are part of the team now.
Hell yeah, man, and you too. So you're fucked. Like I
Yeah,
said,
that's Eric's
everybody.
favorite
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, man.
So what does life look like for you today? Like what you got going on nowadays?
I'm a workaholic. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm trying to leave a legacy behind for my wife and kids that, they don't have to live the life that I kind of came up in, but it's work, 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 work. And then I'm making full music career on the side on top of that while being a husband to my gorgeous wife. It's a full plate, and I feel like I get run down sometimes. She has to tell me to hit the brakes now and then, which, last weekend was my first weekend off in months. So I slept for a couple of days. It was
Yeah,
good.
I hear you.
But yeah, focusing
Balance,
on
right?
that kind of, what's that?
Balance, right? Like
Yeah.
people ask us, like, what's the hardest for us? And it's balance, man. Like
Yeah.
what I would have to say is one of the hardest things.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, prioritizing everything.
Especially when you feel like you got some making up to do, you're always pushing.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I'm like always trying to get to the next level and just do what I can for my family. And then I'm like also making the music on top of which I want to make really good quality music, and I got a lot to say. So I'm constantly making music. I got like 5 or 6 albums on the go right now. So
Fuck yeah, man.
lots of music. And that's the one thing, like I mentioned, the 7 years on lock, because I did an album series. I did this one called 7 Sins, which is all the sins. And then I did 7 Virtues, all the
Awesome,
virtues.
yeah.
And then I did the 7 chakras, which is all your chakra points. And I just did it from my perspectives and stuff like that. So now I'm doing the 7 years on lock, which is another series. And then I'm doing 7 Minutes of Heaven, which is all female features, all,
Crazy.
lovey-dovey fuck songs for the girls.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be like this emotional, drag you down all the time. I got to make some upbeat kind of stuff. And then other projects with other collaborative artists. Me and Mark are working on some more stuff. Me and Terrell Safety, me Confidential, a bunch of guys that are pretty big in the industry. We're making some music. So
Fuck yeah, man.
got lots of stuff coming. And then my next solo album is ready, and it's called Man on Fire, just like the movie.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
It's the same type of stuff, you know what I mean? Just digging within yourself to find the best version of yourself, challenging yourself,
man.
you know what I mean?
I think
Sorry, do you kind of use your music as like your own therapy, like putting pen to paper
Yeah,
and then it's just become this thing for you.
absolutely. Like my last album with Mercules we did is called Therapy, and I feel like this is 100% my therapy. I perform a song every time I perform the song Therapy, because I'm like, I tell the story. I'm like, this is my truth. This is my therapy. I don't know what it does for you guys, but, you know, music to me is therapy, and this is my story, and then I get
Same
right
here,
into
man.
it, right? Yeah.
Eminem used to be huge for me, man. You know, Eminem and like my homie Tom McDonald, like I said, right? You know,
Absolutely, right?
big
Dude, I feel
inspiration.
like I was a little young for the Eminem era. You know, I'm a 92. I'm 32.
Okay, so you're
So
a
like,
little older than me.
yeah, so I like, don't get me wrong, I listen to Eminem, but I feel like the troubled things that I dealt with at like a younger age was like a little young to be listening to Eminem for.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's pretty funny
Fair
looking
enough.
back on it now, but
I was in
whatever,
high
it is
school
what
when
it
that
is.
shit I was coming out, and I think it came out when I was in like grade 12, I think.
Yeah, 97, 98.
Yeah. Is that when it came out?
Yeah,
97?
97, Body and Clad, me and my daughter. I
Oh
was on
yeah,
his,
yeah.
that was his
That's his
Slim
first
Shady LP.
the first one that
That's
went
the
hit,
first
right?
album, Slim Shady LP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, good times, man. They
crazy.
don't, you
Oh,
know
yeah.
what, man? The world is not what it is anymore, man. You know,
No.
remember the pagers, man? I used to have it on the side of my hat up here, thinking I'm a fucking cool guy. What a fucking idiot I was, man.
Oh yeah, you get the 911 text. That's it. They're like whatever they are. They're on the screen there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all it
man.
was though. Hustle and Dope is fucking
Yeah,
Nokia fucking pagers and flip phones. You know what I mean?
razors, bro. The razors, man.
Yeah, the razors. Yeah,
Razors.
dude.
Saying per text message.
Yeah.
There was no texting when I got
Oh,
out,
Oh,
man.
really?
or before I went away. There was no
Yeah.
texting. There was
No.
none of that. There was none of that. There was the phone card. You add the minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
it was
it.
just the phone calls. That's it, man.
Yeah.
And then
There
you
was
got the
no-
Nokia. When the Nokias came out, then you could start texting, man. And people have their Nokias, like all the different colors.
That was after I got out of jail too. That texting was the thing. I was just like, "What is this?
What the hell is
Boy,
it?
I'm like, what am I paying $30 a month for this text thing?" They're like, "Oh, that's for texting." I said, "I don't need it." Take it off. They're like, "We can't," and I'm like, "No, I don't fucking need it."
That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's hilarious.
Now your phone bill's fucking $150 and you get like 50 gigs of data.
Dude,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's crazy, man. Well,
Yeah.
I think you should ask the question, man.
Should I ask both questions?
Yeah, do it. We do
Okay.
this thing at the end.
So at the end of every episode, I've been asking one question, but I had another one, so I'll start with the new one. What's your definition of home?
What's my definition of home?
Yeah.
I would say my family. You know what I mean? Because no matter where I was throughout my journey, when I'd get letters from my family, it made the worst places feel like home. I could sit there and block everything out and read these letters from my sisters and my mom and my dad and brothers, my nieces and nephews, and that's what blurred everything out for me. You know what I mean? Nothing else mattered at that. That was like, okay, this is home.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Love
great
that.
answer.
Yeah.
And the second one is, what's your message to the world in one sentence?
Message to the world in one sentence: don't let your past define your future.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. True story.
True
Yeah.
story.
True
Yeah.
story, man.
Facts.
I love it. Well, you want to?
Do you wanna
huh?
Plug your stuff? Is that what you're going to ask them to do? Yeah.
Yeah. You want to plug?
Oh yeah,
something?
anybody that wants to hear my music and hear my story, it's all factual information. I don't really sugarcoat anything. I speak from the heart. I spit from my soul. You can find me on Spotify, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Everything is Mr.ESQ. It's short for Esquimalt. It's the neighborhood I grew up in, but everything is Mr.ESQ. Lots of videos, lots of songs. Everything's coming out. Real shit. Raw minds.
Hell yeah. Yo,
Thank
check him out, everybody, man. His shit is fucking dope.
I
And
appreciate you guys.
We'll have all the info in the description for this episode when
Everything.
it comes out on
Yeah.
Friday as well.
yeah, we'll be pushing your shit. All our videos will have all your links and stuff too. So well,
what's up.
yeah, it's about community helping each other, man. At the end of the day, man, we're all brothers and sisters. We gotta, buddy, like I said before, if you won $1 million, man, I'd be so happy for you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be jealous. You know what I mean? It's all
Yeah.
about raising each other up, man.
Absolutely.
You know, at the end of the
100%.
day, it's raising each other up and taking care of each other. Oh,
Facts.
looks like Anthony's eyes are closed for good. He just he's crashed out. Oh, and you're back. No, eyes are closing. Oh, there he is.
That's the second time this fucking episode has done that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Anyways, you're gonna be eyes closed for a couple seconds on the podcast, buddies.
Nah, that's okay.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Anytime.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
you're,
appreciate
you're,
you
you're gonna
coming
be coming back, man. Like that's
Oh,
the
100%.
rule, brother.
Yeah.
And then when you coming down here, let me know, man. I'll come to your shows. I'll show mad love, man. And when I come up and visit Owen, we'll get together, man, and we'll go have a coffee or something. And
Yeah, I think I got a
man.
show there May 8th in Vancouver. Uncle Murda of G Unit's coming through. I got a few shows to do with him. So if you guys are around, hit me up. Come hang out.
I will be there.
Cool.
Sick.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, he's gone. But 100%. You just shoot me a message when that's like, is it locked in?
Yeah.
Already? Oh, it is. Okay, so let me know where I can grab tickets, man, and then I'm definitely hit that up. And
All
I'll
right,
be
bro.
fucking
Sounds
there,
good,
brother.
man. I appreciate everything.
No worries. Oh, here he comes. He wants to say bye.
Oh, he wants to say bye. Chiming back in.
I don't know what the
Back
heck's
in.
going on with my internet tonight.
You're good, brother.
For the third time.
I wasn't gonna end it. I know you want to say bye.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you coming out, man. It was a great
Thank
episode.
you guys very much, man. I really appreciate and respect what you guys are doing with this platform, man.
Thank you.
Changing
Thanks,
lives
man.
for
Thank
sure.
you.
Thank you,
And
brother.
if we get some
Okay,
time
well-
when I'm out there next week, maybe we'll come out to you. I don't know the distance. I have no fucking idea. So if we can make
It's a
some
couple
time.
hours on the ferry, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We'll see.
I got
right?
a whole week, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bro.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, man. Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
Much
Take care,
love to
boys.
you.
Much
You guys
love.
if you need anything from us, man, we're here to help you, brothers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just letting you know, man.
Thanks, boys. You take
All right,
care,
buddy.
man. All right.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, Anthony. Well, another great episode.
Another
in
great
this.
episode.
All right, brother.
Fuck, I
well,
love him, man. He's such a good dude.
Great dude, man.
Like-
great dude.
Yeah. Just, I love having guests on where we don't really have to say much because
You're just lazy.
I'm not lazy. Come on, fuck.
I'm just joking.
No, but you know, like people who just verbally can articulate themselves and they have their shit together, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, he was great. Great. And I got much love from him. We both have much love from him.
Mhm.
So
definitely. Check out his music, guys. Fuck.
yeah, hit him up, man. He's fucking killing it. His shit's dope, man.
Mhm.
His shit's really good. So, and it's true stories too. He raps about real shit.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, brother,
We'll see you on
It's time to go.
Saturday. But
you will see me on
oh,
Saturday.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
Take it easy.
Okay.
Bye. That's awesome. And good.